Hey everyone, so I am back with another video. I know it's been like a year since I've done a tutorial, but I'm hoping I can become more consistent. Today I'm going to show you guys how I achieved these lemonade braids on my lovely client and Spellman sister Candace. And stay tuned if you want to learn more. So first I show you guys how I separate the hair. I just determine how big I want the actual braid, the hanging braid to be, and then I'll just separate the bottom so that it's tapered, and then I normally break off about 6 to 7 pieces and just make sure they get progressively bigger. The first two, it's important that they're pretty small so you don't have a big gap between how you start and then when you add in the hair. So first I'll just go in and I just make a part. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, some kind of guide, because that's the first section we'll be working on. And I always start off with the first braid along the nape. That tends to be the tightest because that's also the first one that'll loosen up. And here I'm just showing you guys how I just start the bottom pattern. I just follow the guide from the first braid, pretty much just going around that one central spot and then connecting to the other side. And the key for this style is to have single focal points where pretty much all the braids will spawn out of this one section. So you'll see what I'm talking about as we go forward. But the main thing for consistency in this style when it comes to the actual braid is to start off with 2 pieces, braid a little bit, add 2 pieces midway through, and then add 2 pieces towards the end. That way you can make sure all the braids are the same length as well. And to add fullness to the side, I just do 2 rows of individual box braids. Going forward, I just make a part on the left side of her, not necessarily her temple, but the part closest to her ear, and then just travel it all the way around to the other side. At this part, I make sure to do a bigger section because it is on her edges. So the more hair that you have in the section, generally the more support those pieces have. Because this is going to be a really long braid, it's important to add the 2 pieces in and then braid quite a few stitches and then add hair progressively throughout the length of the braid. And as you can see, I just did 4 braids. So now we get to the front. You just sort of decide where you want your starting focus point to be, and then you just make a part just following her hairline essentially. And I apologize that it's so shaky. I put the camera with the tripod like pretty much in my bra just so you guys can get a point of view type view when I'm doing these braids. So as I'm moving, my boobs are moving, and then the camera's moving, so it just got crazy. Hopefully as time goes on I'll find a better method. And this is another part where you want to keep that braid, or at least a section, a little bit big, because again, it is on her hairline. So as I was saying, the more hair that you have to work with, the less pressure it puts on it. So here I slowed it down a little bit. So you pretty much find a spot that you want to start at, and then just with a curved motion, just go around. At this point, it's really important to keep the end of the cornrow pretty narrow so that way you can have room for all of the braids. And I always add edge control to keep that section separate, and then it also aids when you get to that point of the braid. So you start off with a small piece of hair, split it into 3, and then braid a few times before you actually start adding in her hair, then braid another time, and then add in the braiding hair. I hope that makes sense. If not, I plan on doing a slowed down version of bead-in cornrows so you guys can really get a step-by-step. So when I braid with my index and my thumb. So when feeding in the braids, pretty much what I do is I'll take the hair and I don't want to say shove it, but I'll move it to where that index finger that's holding the center piece is also going to hold the braiding hair. So you'll have a piece of braiding hair have the leg on the hair that's out on the left, and then the braiding hair is also going to be on that center piece that you're holding. Again, I hope that makes sense. If not, I'm going to do another video. And always add hair towards the end. That makes sure that the braids are around the same length and have the same amount of fullness towards the end. But here is the finished look. I pretty much do 4, 4, and 4. So 4 on the sides, 4 at the top part where it's hanging in front of her face, and then 4 at that the more slow part that I showed you guys. And at that point, once you get to the middle, you just pretty much, like I said, choose a focal point and then just have all your braids come out from there. It's pretty easy once you get used to it. I like to work in small sections. I used to pre-section it, and that never worked. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below or DM me on Instagram. I'm always here to help. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.